welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to another video and welcome back to another Seasonathon announcement video. You heard that right, it is time again to announce our Spring Into Readingathon. If you don't know what Seasonathon is, it is a readathon that is hosted by Mel from Completely Melanie, Clint from Rage Readers, and myself. We host it 4 times a year for every season, and this time it's time for spring. We have so much fun with these readathons every single time we do it, and this one is no exception. We have brought back some of our loved things from Spring Into Readingathon, and just really fantastic prompts with a lot of potential for a really great month. So if you're excited to hear about all of that and what we have in store for you this time, make sure to stay tuned. Also, make sure to go check out Mel and Clint's channel as well as their announcement videos, where they'll be talking about this readathon as well as giving you some recommendations for the prompts. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to contact us in the comments and we will help you out as best as we can. So before we get into the prompts, let's talk about the important dates and times that you will need to know for this readathon. So Spring Into Readingathon does take up the full month of March, starting Wednesday, March 1st and ending Friday, March 31st. Our dates for the live shows are a little bit different this time, so make sure you pay attention to this. Our author live show will be on April 15th at 3 p.m. EST on Mel's channel. And then our after hours live show will be on Saturday, April 1st at 8 p.m. EST. The author that we chose for this round of the group book was not available on the 1st of April, so we will be doing that on the 15th. So if you are interested in watching that live show, make sure to set your calendars because this round is just a little bit different. All right, now that we talked about the dates and times, we will jump into the prompts, and this time we brought back our bingo board, which we are so excited about. I will pop it up on the screen so you guys can take a look at it. But we did the bingo board last year and it was such a great success that we wanted to bring it back. I am so excited about the bingo board. I love bingo. As you guys know, I have a whole TBR game based on bingo. So anytime I have a chance to strive for a bingo during a readathon, it always just makes me so happy. So I'm very excited that we're bringing this back for this year. Now keep in mind, there are going to be 25 prompts, but you can double up, triple up, quadruple up on any of the prompts that you need to in order to complete your round of bingo. But if you want to go for a blackout, go for that as well. Also keep in mind that if you have any questions about dates, times, you need prompt recommendations, we do have a Google Doc down in the description box below that will help you find everything that you need. It will be posted after all of our videos have premiered, so if you don't see it in the description box as you're watching the premiere, just wait a few minutes. I promise I will update it for you. But if you're watching it after, then it should be down in the description, and that will have, like I said, all the dates and times that you need. It will have the bingo boards as well as the link to grab the bingo boards, all the ways that you can hit bingo, as well as some recommendations for all of the prompts that we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, let's jump into the prompts and my recommendations. I'm only doing 2 recommendations for the prompts this time because there's so many and I don't want this video to be extremely long, so let's do it. So our very first prompt that we bring back every year because it's just so much fun is spring cleaning, and that is to read a book that has been collecting dust on your bookshelves. So basically a TBR vet. I don't have a recommendation for this one, obviously, because this is based off of your bookshelves and how long things have been on your bookshelves, so it won't help you to recommend things that are on my bookshelves, but hopefully you will find a book that fits this prompt if you choose to use it. That has been on your TBR for forever, that you have been meaning to get around to, and now is the perfect time to do it. Prompt number 2 is New Beginnings, and that is to read the first book in a series. So the one that I have read and would highly recommend is Bitter by Akiko Emezi. This is the prequel book to Pet, which came out first, but since this is the prequel, I'm counting it as the first book in a series, and if you have not read this one, highly recommend it. Or you can go with the romance series with When Heroes Fall by Gianna Darling. Our next prompt is Wet T-shirt Contest, and that is to read a smutty book. This is my favorite prompt, and I will definitely be trying to use it this round. What I have to recommend for you is Twisted Love by Anna Huang. The entire Twisted series is great for this prompt, but this is the one that I have read and would highly recommend. And then we have something like Poison Roses by Jamin Eve and Tate James. You guys all know I love Tate James, so this will definitely be one that I'm going to try to squeeze in for this month because it sounds amazing. Our next prompt on the bingo board is to read an audiobook. I don't have any recommendations for this one, but feel free to use a book that you are reading physically as well as just listening to the audiobook if you would like to double up, or pick a completely different audiobook to fill this prompt. Is completely up to you. Our next prompt is Let It Shine, and that is to read a book with an element on the cover, whether that is water, air, fire, earth. Whatever you choose to do with that, whatever interpretation you choose to do with that as well is completely valid. What I have to recommend is Fairest by Marissa Meyer. This does have fire on the cover, but I specifically picked this one because it also has fire on the spine. The front, the back, the spine of the book totally works. If there's something underneath the dust jacket that has an element on it, it also works. Just however you want to interpret that prompt is up to you. And if you're looking for a shorter option, and for me, I find the hardest one to fulfill is air or wind. You could do something like this with the Tea Dragon Festival. The leaves are floating in the air, which I'm assuming are being spurred on by the wind, so you can totally use that as an option as well. Our next prompt is stormy weather, and that is to read a book that intimidates you. Again, completely up to your interpretation. If it intimidates you because of the size, because of the author, because it's a big series, because you've heard mixed reviews, whatever you want to use for that one, totally up to your interpretation. Okay, our next prompt is another one that I absolutely love, and that is because I love looking at book covers. But that is spring fashion, read a book with a beautiful cover. I do have 2 recommendations that I absolutely love. These are also book box books, so I always find that they are absolutely beautiful. The first one that I have here is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. Like, I'm sorry, but excuse me? Thank you. The next one that I have is a special edition cover, but I think the original cover of this is absolutely beautiful as well, but I just need to recommend it, and that is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. Oh, such a good dark romance. Check the trigger warnings, but if you're up to it, please read it. Our next prompt is Rewind, and that is to read a past Seasonathon group book or author. If you want to read from an author that we've had before, you could do Emily Wimberly and Austin Siegmund Broca with Always Never Yours. Or one of our group books was Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelis, definitely a good option as well. Then we have April Showers, and that is to read a book you think will make you cry. The first one that I have here is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the 3rd book in the series, but it's definitely the saddest of the 3, and if you are willing to shed some tears, this is definitely a good one. Or we have The Beloved TJ Klune. This also works for a past Seasonathon author, but you could do Under the Whispering Door. I've heard pretty much everyone that reads this cries, so definitely a great option. Then up next we have Luck of the Irish, and that is to read a book with green on the cover. You could do a book that is predominantly green, or you could do a book that has some type of green on it but is not all the way green. Then we have our first non-reading prompt, and that is self-care. Basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. Take a day just for yourself. Up next, we have a newer prompt, and that is Prom Queen, and that is to read a popular book. I chose one that has definitely been popular for many years, and that is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Definitely one that is talked about still today and is very popular in its own right. But you could also choose something that's more popular, more current, something like The Stolen Heir by Holly Black, her newest book in the Folk of the Air series. We're going to skip the group book prompt. I promise we'll come back to it, but our next prompt is Spring Forward, and that is to read a sequel. I am not going to be giving you recommendations on this one. I'm sure there's plenty of sequels that you guys have options to read. I have way too many series going on, but I don't think this one would be apt for me to recommend you something, but I know you can find one to fit this prompt for sure. Then we have Love is in the Air, and that is to read a book that features a romance or a friend group in case you don't want to read a romance book. The one that I have for a friend group, you could read The Serpent King by Jeff Zettner. This is also a previous group book that we had, so this one works for that prompt as well, and it has a fantastic friend group at the center. Then for a romance, I chose Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellfleur. This is a female-female romance, so if you're in the mood for that, this one definitely could work. Then we have Over the Rainbow, and that is to read a classic, a fairy tale, or a retelling. For classic, we have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Or you could do Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is a previous group book as well, and it is a Peter Pan retelling. Then we have Spring Break, and that is to read a book about travel or vacation. The one that I have read is Guild by Raven Kennedy. The main character does travel in this book, so definitely a great option for it. Or you could do The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armaz, and they travel to Spain in this book. Then we have Refresh Your TBR. This is another non-reading prompt. I don't want there to be confusion. Refresh Your TBR is just to add a book to your TBR, whether that's through the library, whether that's going out and buying a book, whether that's borrowing it from a friend or a family member. Any way you want to refresh your TBR, do that, but you don't necessarily have to read that book in order to fulfill the prompt. The next prompt is Friendship Bracelets, and that is to buddy read a book. Now, you can buddy read the group book with us if you feel so inclined to do so, or you can buddy read any book with anybody in order to fulfill this prompt. Then March is Women's History Month, so we have Women's March, and that is to read a book with a strong female character. The first book that I chose was The Marionettes by Katie Wismer. This is a book with a very strong female character. It is a vampire and witch fantasy romance, definitely a great one, and it's so much fun. And then the one that I have not read but would definitely try to pick up this month is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. I definitely feel like the main female character of this book is a strong female character. Our last row, we have Flower Power, and that is to read a book with flowers on the cover. The one that I chose here is The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. If you're looking for a good book with disability rep, this one is fantastic. It's also dark academia, and it does definitely have flowers on the cover as well as the stenciled edges. Same goes for this one. We have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Rachani Chakshi. This does have flowers on the cover as well as the stenciled edge. Alright, next up we have Read Like an Aries, and that is to read a book under 250 pages. The ones that I have are definitely shorter than that. We have a poetry book by Katie Wismer, the author of The Marionettes, and that is Poems for the End of the World, or you could choose a smutty novella. This is Surrender by Rosie Adams, another great, fantastic read. Our next prompt is Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and that is to read a book with either yellow or pink on the cover. The first one that I have here is The Love Hypothesis. This does have pink here as well as down here. That totally works. Or you could choose a book with both, being The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane with pink and yellow on the cover. That was backwards. Pink and yellow. Then we have Spring Court, and that is to read a book involving fae. The first book that I'm going to recommend is Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. Or if you want to go more YA, you could choose These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. Our very last prompt on the board is another non-reading prompt, and that is Tiny Umbrellas, and that is just to make your favorite iced beverage. So however it is that you want to do that, that could be coffee, that could be tea, that could be a soda, whatever you want, as long as you make it and drink it, you can fulfill the prompt. And the very last spot on the board is the wonderful, the coveted group book spot, and that is where we talk about our group book. I'm so excited that I get to even say this out loud, that we get to interview this author, because I have absolutely loved everything that I have read by her so far. And the group book and the group author is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I absolutely adore the books that Ali Hazelwood has written so far, and I'm so excited that I get to read this alongside you guys, but also chat with Ali in the live show and learn everything about her as well as her books. I'm very excited. If you don't know what this is about, I'm going to read the synopsis so you have a better idea of what this is about, and if you were interested in reading this for the group book. This says, like an avenging purple-haired Jedi bringing balance to the mansplaining universe, I don't know that last name, lives by a simple code. What would Marie Curie do? If NASA offered Marie her dream neuroengineering project, she would accept without hesitation. Duh. But the mother of modern physics never had to co-lead with Levi Ward. Sure, Levi has soul-piercing eyes, and sure, he caught her in his powerful colored arms like a romance novel hero when she accidentally damseled in distress on her first day in the lab. But Levi makes his feelings toward Bee clear in grad school. Arch enemies work best when employed in their own galaxies far away. Now her equipment is missing, the staff ignores her, and Bee finds her floundering career in somewhat of a pickle. Perhaps it's her occipital cortex playing tricks on her, but Bee could swear she can see Levi softening into an ally, backing her plays, devouring her with those eyes, and the possibilities have all her neurons firing. But when it comes time to actually make a move and put her heart on the line, there's only one question that matters. What would Bee do? So this one sounds really, well, it doesn't sound cute. It is cute. It's very fantastic. I read it already. I highly recommend that you give it a try if you haven't already. And then if you are not interested in reading this one, Ali Hazelwood also has The Love Hypothesis, as well as 3 short stories that you can read individually or in the bind-up. I believe the bind-up is called Loathe to Love You, so definitely a good option as well. But that is everything that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Just to reiterate, we will have an author live show with Ali Hazelwood on April 15th at 3 p.m. EST, and then the After Hours live show will be April 1st at 8 p.m. EST, both on Mel's channel. If you have any questions about the readathon, it will be in the description box below, as well as in the Google Doc. But again, if you have any questions that are not being answered in either of those locations, feel free to reach out to us in the comments. We'll be happy to help you out. Let us know what you think of this round of the readathon, if you're going to be participating, if there are any books that automatically pop into your mind for the prompts that we talked about today, and if you're excited for the group book. I love you all so much. Make sure to go check out Mel and Clint's video as well. But that is the end of this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And of course, leave any comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Baby, turn it down like a sweet